You are Locked On Marlins POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Fish fans? Welcome to your Locked On Marlins postcast. My name is Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries. I got my own throwback jersey on today. I'll tell you that story in just a minute. But what a day to be a Marlins fan. What a day to watch. And first of all, the game was an hour and 55 minutes long, and we apologize for getting on a little bit late. Not much, just a smidge. But, man, that game went fast. I mean, you literally look up, it's the third inning. You look up, it's the sixth inning. Look up, and holy cow, he's literally going to go the distance. And I thought Skip should have let Luzardo go the distance. I'll explain that in a minute, too. My name's Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries. This is your Locked On Marlins postcast right here, wherever you listen to your podcast, whether it be Spotify, whether it be Apple Music, whether it be iHeart, whether it be Stitcher, Podbean, wherever you get your podcast on the listening side, the audio version, where you don't have to see this pretty face. However you want to determine that is up to you. But we're also on the Locked On Sports Miami YouTube, the Locked On Marlins, Locked On Canes, Locked On Dolphins, Locked On Heat. You know the deal, right? So obviously the Marlins day in and day out have been getting a lot better. The Marlins day in and day out have been starting to scratch and claw and win some games. We've been talking a lot lately about how much fun they are. And what a win tonight. 1-0. 1-0. They beat the Milwaukee Brewers in an hour and 55 minutes. 1-0. They finish off a 2 out of 3 series victory over the Milwaukee Brewers, first place team in the National League. 1-0. They win for the 7th time in 10 games. 7 out of 10. They've won 3 straight series. They won 2 out of 3 at Detroit. They beat the Mets 2 out of 3. And now they beat the first place Brewers 2 out of 3. So the Marlins, and think if Luis Arraez is still here, I think he still has the consecutive games on base streak from before he left, playing for San Diego now. So the Marlins have put it together on some level. Right? A couple of different levels. Their bullpen was abysmal to start the year. They had a lot of injuries in their pitching staff. Those two things didn't help them at all. The bullpen was terrible to start the year, right? So much better now. They're so good now. I love watching this bullpen. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun night in and night out. I thought he should have let Luzardo pitch the 9th, but, far be it for me to say when Schumacher's pulling all the right strings and pushing all the right buttons. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast. I am Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries. It is powered by eBay Motors. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond. From brakes and exhaust kits to beyond. eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive. I don't know why I do stupid things when it's time to read commercials. I just do. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit only available to U.S. customers. And, of course, I want to thank you. So I have to thank you every time we start. I got my throwback jersey on. I'm grateful for everything I've experienced in this baseball life of mine. But I want to thank you for making Locked On Marlins postcast your first listen every single day. We know that you have choices. We also know that we're free. It doesn't cost you anything, right? But we're available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. That is right. And, man, was Jesus Luzardo good tonight. I mean, he's been off the DL for 3 starts now, and he's, over 19 innings pitched, and this is unofficial. You know what? Let me make it official. Let me just click on Luzardo right now. We can click on anything we want. This just in, Jim. It's 2024. Hey, there's even AI. Go imagine. But so Luzardo, okay? I mean, he obviously went on the DL, and you guys know the deal there. You know what happened with him and going on the DL. The arm was bothering him, and it's unfortunate sometimes when that happens, right? But it was like what was it? A strained arm or something like that. It was the flexor muscle strain officially in his throwing elbow. So that cost him a little bit of time on the IL, as they call it now. Don't want to offend the disabled people by calling it the disabled list. So the name change is not a bad thing there, right? We evolve, we move on. It's evolution. It's what we're supposed to do as humans. Well, anyway, Luzardo has been off the IL for 3 starts. And those 3 starts against the Phillies, they lost 8-3, but he was good. 5 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts, only 1 walk. I mean, he has been a magician in the strike zone. I mean, making good hitters look bad. Making good hit. William Contreras tonight looked awful on a couple of pitches. That doesn't happen to him. It's happening from Luzardo. Luzardo had 8 strikeouts and 1 walk against the Phillies. And again, that game was blown open after he was taken out. He only allowed the 2 earned runs, and the Phillies are literally destroying everything in their path right now. The Mets, they beat the Mets 8-0 in his start before this one. He went 6 innings, 5 hits, 7 strikeouts, and no walks. 7 strikeouts in 6 innings in the major leagues is damn good. And then tonight, what does your boy do? Jesus Luzardo goes out there. I mean, that should be a shirt or a nickname, right? Jesus. I think when we invent our own words that aren't actually a part of the language or anyone's name, they sometimes sound better. Don't tell anyone. So Luzardo, 8 innings pitched. That's a career high, obviously a season high. His 8th start picked up this is unbelievable what he's been doing. 8 innings pitched, 3 hits, 4 strikeouts, nobody walked. He threw 100 pitches in 8 innings. 100 pitches. Now, his arm was obviously dead when he went on the IL because since he's come off, he's over 19 innings pitched. He's got an ERA under 1. Earned run average under 1, and a batting average against of under 150. And that's in 3 starts against the Phillies, against the Mets, and now against the Brewers. That's after going on the IL. He's been lights out. And you put that together with what Weathers has been doing. Man, Weathers is going to pitch, on Saturday? I'll get to I don't even want to get too far ahead of myself on this, but Weathers, I believe, will pitch Saturday in Arizona. No, he's going to pitch Sunday in Arizona. Wait, who's pitching Saturday? Wait a minute. Okay, all right. Oh, it's Sixto Sanchez again. I can't believe they're even giving him the ball. I don't know why they're even giving him the ball at this point. They need to until other pitchers come back. But Lord, man, that's a tough one. You're looking at that one going, maybe I'll play golf that day. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't mean to bag on Sixto too much, but he's just been awful. He's been awful. He hasn't given them any chance. I mean, when you're throwing a slider that starts at the chin and breaks right into the waist at the middle of the plate in the major leagues, I'd have loved to have seen that pitch in college or high school. Me personally, even high school, I'd have crushed that thing in high school. I mean, the way he's pitched his last couple of times out, just not good. Not good. But you know what? Everybody deserves a chance to keep going until they don't. And really, in his case, it's only until people come back. Who's on the IL right now? Is it Cabrera on the IL? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sixto, we'll see. I mean, he might turn it around and get hot, right? Luzardo was not so great before he went on the IL. Weathers had a couple of tough starts. Braxton Garrett, who's pitching on Friday, has been god-awful, except for one really good start against the Tigers. So we'll see how that goes. But Arizona, World Series team a year ago, and when I think of the Diamondbacks, I think of Curt Schilling and Randy Johnson. We'll get to that momentarily, but the Diamondbacks are 3 games under 500, 9 games out in the NL West when those other 2 teams are the Dodgers and the Padres. And the Padres are a 500 team. Go figure, right? You got Arias in there. You had Bogarts playing second before. But you got Machado, you got Tatis, you got all that firepower, and you're a 500 team. The Dodgers are 33-18, man. Yankees, Dodgers, Phillies, Braves. Yankees, Dodgers, Phillies, Braves. Orioles, really good so far this year. I mean, look at even the Red Sox and the Rays with 25 wins each, though. That division as a whole, the American League East, is just really good this year. Even the Blue Jays at 21-26. Cleveland's really good. Mariners are good. But the Phillies, and then you got to believe the Braves. They're 9 games over 500. The Braves are 9 games. The Phillies are playing 7-14 baseball. Philadelphia is 35-14. They've won 8 of their last 10, and guess who's won 7 of their last 10? The Miami Marlins. And guess who? The first of those 7 wins for the Marlins and the first of those 2 losses for the Phillies. Yeah, Marlins beat the Phillies in the last game of that series. Right? So they have a little bit of history there. The Brewers now 28-21 after losing 2 out of 3 to the Marlins. The Cubs are at 27-22, a game back of Milwaukee in the Central. Going to be a good summer. Can you imagine that part of the country, right? Brewers and Cubs all summer long going back and forth. They're two of the biggest beer drinking cities in America. It's summertime. The weather's amazing. It's going to be a great summer the way baseball's shaping up. Dodgers are going to run away with the West. Marlins, I don't know, man. Like, look, they've got to the point where, I mean, they're 17-34. After winning 7 out of 10, you're 17-34, man. That's rough. That's a tough go. How are we doing on the break anyway? What are we doing over here? Lose track of time. I guess I got to hit the break. The Marlins beat the Brewers 1-0. Fantastic pitching from Jesus Luzardo. We'll break a little bit more of that down on the other side, as well as, you know what? Jazz Chisholm's been really good for the Marlins. He hit the home run in the bottom of the first today. Leadoff homer. It was all Luzardo, and then Tanner Scott would need to finish off the Brewers, and a vicious Freddy Peralta. Peralta had not been that good heading into today's game. Let's talk about the starting pitchers, Luzardo, Peralta, when we come back. It is your Locked On Marlins postcast. My name's Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries. Marlins, 7 out of 10. They've won 3 series in a row. They beat the Brewers 1-0. They take 2 out of 3 from the first place team in the National League Central Division. Sounds like something you could have made a lot more fun on Prize Picks, right? I mean, this series, the way that it's gone, there's so much fun on Prize Picks. There's so many things you can do. And I'm a big proponent, guys, and you know this. I've talked about this for years if you've been following me. If you haven't, where you been? Come on, I've been in the Miami market forever. But I'll say this, okay? The number one fantasy sports app in America is Prize Picks with over 3 million users. We talk about this every day on the show. It's the easiest way. It's the most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in, just like the Marlins are doing right now. Right this way, Mr. Papa Giorgio. You can't lose. Anyway, Major League Baseball is in full swing. I just read you the whole standings, for crying out loud. Day in and day out, the beautiful stars of the game. I mean, Bryce Harper's killing it right now. Ohtani's killing it right now. You've got some amazing things going on in Major League Baseball, and every single day you can make your experience as a fan that much more interesting by adding your favorite players from the diamond in your Prize Picks entries. How do you do that? It's simple. I'll tell you in a minute. But whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, you can take your pick, Mr. or Mrs. Baseball fan, of more or less, and add them to your Prize Picks entry today. And if baseball's not enough for you, like it isn't for me, because one is never enough of anything, let's be real, sports are no different. Well, the NBA playoffs, man, the Western Conference Finals getting started tonight. You got the Eastern Conference Finals last night. The Celtics up 1-0 over the Pacers. Should be the Heat. It should be the Heat. It should be the Heat. It should be the Heat if Jimmy Butler didn't get hurt against Philly. Anyway, I went through this whole diatribe last night. But if you're into the NBA playoffs and you're enjoying that as well as Major League Baseball, well, then you can 100x your money on Prize Picks as you and the world's best players take the game to a new level during basketball's postseason. You got Meek Mill on there. You got Sugar Sean O'Malley in there. You can play against them, talk smack. It's the best way to get in on the action on sports in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the number one fantasy sports app. And if it's not that, it's free weekly promotions and special offers for the biggest moments in sports. And they now offer Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account this basketball and baseball season. So what are you waiting for? Download the number one fantasy sports app in America. Download the number one fantasy sports app in America, Prize Picks, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100 with Prize Picks, America's number one fantasy sports app. Yo, that was fun. I enjoy this way too much. Don't tell anybody. They might not pay me anymore. Meanwhile, I have a question for you before we continue with the show. My name's Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries. I'm wearing my retro Valley Vipers jersey. What you know about that? I'll explain more on that in a minute. I was the play-by-play announcer for this team. They played for 1 year in the year 2000. Remember Conan O'Brien? You probably don't. I'm showing my age. Anyway, the beard's got grays for a reason. Are you watching Fox Sports? Are you watching ESPN on your TV all day? I mean, right? That's so 90s. You have to turn down the volume because everybody's screaming and yelling, and you just can't take enough of these old men arguing with each other about things that 14-year-olds argue with each other about. Well, yeah. If you're tired of that, make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single stinking, rotten, or amazing and beautiful day, depending upon your outlook. Hey, I can't do that for you. I'm just here every day with your Locked On Marlins postcast. I'll be here every day, every week with your Locked On Dolphins postcast, and I'll be here every week with your Locked On Miami Hurricanes football. 305, baby. The U, class of 96. I told you about the Gries. What can you do? It's a part of life. So the Marlins win 1-0 today. They take this series from the Milwaukee Brewers. They win this game 1-0. No, they're not scoring any runs. You're being picky. I understand. And you're going, but Gries, the pitching's been amazing, and the offense isn't scoring. What happens when the pitching drops off a little bit? You know what I mean? What happens when any of these things happen with the Marlins? What happens when their pitching isn't as good as it's been lately? What happens? What happens? What happens? What ifs? You can play what ifs all day long. And I understand that what ifs are one of the biggest parts of being a sports fan. But what if? Never mind. I was going to ask you something, but I'm not going to ask it. Anyway, it was about what ifs. Just use your imagination. What good do what ifs do you? That's my question. What good do what ifs do you? What if the Marlins hadn't started 0-9? What if the Marlins hadn't had a 6-game losing streak and a 5-game losing streak? What if the offense was putting up big numbers to go along with this pitching performance? Maybe they would have won 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. I don't know. I just know they've won a bunch of games lately. They've done it in different ways. They've done it coming back late, scoring a bunch of runs after the 7th inning, not today, but before this. And they've been finding different ways to do it. They've played really good defense. Their pitching has been fantastic, minus Garrett and Sanchez. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, just get these guys out of here. This is the major leagues, man. Look, I'm a host, right? And I've done some pretty big shows in my career. I've been blessed. I've done some big games, big events, big things on TV, radio, this even. But you have to be on your game. You have to get the job done when you're in the major leagues. If you're not getting the job done in the major leagues, you don't belong in the major leagues. Period, point blank, end of story. Is it cruel? Yes. Is it vicious? Maybe. Is it reality? 100. If you are not getting the job done in the major leagues, this is not the place to test it out. This is not the place to see if you can cut it. This is not the place to get 1,000 chances. Sixto Sanchez, I'm talking to you. Braxton Garrett, I'm talking to you. Tigers game was great. But you cannot be giving those types of performances that you've been giving, start in and start out, and expect to pitch anywhere, let alone the major leagues. You're just not. And, I mean, I'm tired of this world where we don't keep our big boy and big girl pants on and just tell it like it is. Get the dang job done or get the heck out of the way for someone else who will. Okay, and that's Sanchez and Garrett right now. And the Marlins offense, for that matter, hasn't been doing a lot lately. They could use some help there. Arias was doing great for them, you know, and it seems like a little bit like DLC. Brian De La Cruz has been struggling a little bit these last few games, at least in terms of putting the bat on the ball and making things happen in that 2-hole. Chisholm's leadoff hitter had the home run tonight. He was moved down to the 6th spot for Dane Myers yesterday, and I don't mind that once in a while. It seemed to give him a little spark. But their offense hasn't been that good, man. Their offense has just not been good. Their pitching at times has bailed them out. Their bullpen has been lights out, man. Those guys down there, Maldonado before he got sent down, Nardi, been great, except for one game. Fauché was phenomenal. Tanner Scott's been killing it in the closer role. Some really good performances coming out of that bullpen. And today they only used 2 pitchers, 6 yesterday. Nice rest for all those guys in the pen as you get ready to hit the road. They had today and then tomorrow. You had your closer throw an inning. You got everybody rested, got everybody relaxed and ready to go for that series against the Diamondbacks. A huge series. Diamondbacks are under 500. They're playing a little better themselves. Went to the World Series a year ago. Very disappointed in the way they've started the season, although they've turned it around a little bit. Similar to the Marlins, right? Playoff team a year ago. Extremely disappointed in the way that you started the season. Turning it around, playing better. Where the Diamondbacks at right now? I mean, I know I said they're 3 games under 500, but where are they at overall? They are, 23 and 26. And they've won, there's 5-5 in their last 10. 12 and 13 at home, just not getting it done, man. Oh, this is killing me. Look at this. Just as I'm telling you this, the Marlins offense is struggling. How bad the Marlins offense is struggling. And Luis Arise went 4 for 5 with a home run and 2 RBIs. The San Diego Padres beat the Cincinnati Reds 7-3 on Wednesday night. That would be tonight. First homer of the season for Arise. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. 7 leadoff homers in his career, but he's been killing it since he got to the Padres, man. Oh, Luis Arise. 2 for 4, 2 for 4, 2 for 5, 2 for 5, 2 for 5. Every freaking game. I'm looking at his splits. Oh, well. Can't complain anymore. They made that trade. What did they get for him? It just is ridiculous. It makes no sense to me. But Arise is playing for the Padres. Now, the Marlins pitching staff been good. You need Garrett to pitch a good game on Friday night. You got Weathers going on Sunday. I mean, you got Garrett and Sanchez back-to-back in the first 2 games of the series, and I don't even want to think about doing those shows. Yeah. I'm challenging you, Sixto Sanchez, and I'm challenging you, Braxton Garrett. Man, been bad lately. Pick it up, boys. Pick it up. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast. I'm Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries, your team every day. I want to thank you for making Locked On Marlins postcast a must-watch or listen every single day right here on YouTube. Also, Spotify, Apple Music, iHeart, wherever you get your podcast. My name's Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries. Going to wrap it up in just a minute after these words for some dear friends of ours. And everybody knows about eBay Motors. And if you don't, where have you been? Let me tell you about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, whether you're into power, or whether you're into style, eBay Motors has you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Look out, James Earl Jones on that last spot. Ooh, look out. James Earl Jones. There's a new VO guy in town. There's also a new 24/7 sports streaming channel in town, but it's way bigger than the town because it's worldwide, and it's called Locked On Sports Today, the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's also available on Amazon, Fire TV, and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now, available on the free Fire TV channels app. Dun, 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 dun. You do funny things when there's a camera staring at your face for a half hour straight every day and the lights are blaring on you and help me. Just kidding. The Marlins win 1-0. Am I trapped in some sort of bizarro world? The Marlins have won 7 out of 10. What a season it's been. You lose the first 9. You got a 6-game losing streak. You got a 5-game losing streak. And all of a sudden, these kids can't lose. All of a sudden, they're playing defense. They're making big plays on the base paths. They're getting clutch hits, even if they are home runs in the bottom of the first inning. And they're getting great pitching, occasionally from starters, Ryan Weathers, and tonight's star of the game, Jesus Luzardo. Occasionally not, Sixto Sanchez and Braxton Garrett. But the bullpen's been great. Tanner Scott's been dope as the closer, lights out. Bullpen's been really good. And they've been used a lot. A lot of these starters, Sanchez, Garrett, have not been given them much. And the bullpen's been used a lot in their starts. And, I mean, the other day they used 6 pitchers. So the point is the bullpen's been lights out for the most part. O'Shea had a bad outing the other night. I mean, it happens here and there. The starting pitching's been 50-50. Great, terrible, great, terrible. There's been no in between. Garrett had 1 great outing. The rest were terrible. Luzardo, terrible. Multiple outings. Great these last 3. Weathers, terrible in certain outings. Magnificent these last couple. But by the time Weathers gets the ball again, you could be in an 0-2 hole in that series against the Diamondbacks with those 2 guys pitching those next 2 games. I know I sound like I'm killing Garrett, and I know I sound like I'm killing Sanchez. But these are major league pitchers, guys. Getting paid millions of dollars. Get the job done or get out of the way. That's the way I feel, and I don't care. I'm unapologetic about it. Get it done or get out. And I'm sure that's how everybody feels. Get it done. Get it done, man. Do something. Look, I'm human. I feel for you. I'm empathetic. I'm sympathetic. I'm just not pathetic like you've been in your starts recently. But look, it is what it is. You can't be that bad. You give up some runs here and there. You have a bad start here and there. You have a horrible start here and there. Cool. But when you don't give your team any chance, every time you touch the ball, your team has no chance to win that game. That's what's been happening lately with these 2 dudes, and it cannot continue. It cannot continue, or they've got to do something about these 2 guys. And I know you got Cabrera coming back. Look, it's been tough with all the injuries. It's been tough, all the guys on the injured list this year. At one point in time, a couple of weeks ago, 47% of the innings pitched from a year ago for the Miami Marlins were on the disabled list. Those guys were on the injured list at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Concurrently. So it's not, I'm sympathetic. I'm empathetic. I'm all of them. But you just can't be pathetic. It's Major League Baseball, man. It's Major League Baseball. You're a Major League pitcher. Pitch like it. Get that slider down below the knees. Have it break right into the hitting zone. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is, guys. I don't want to go on too long about this. A great win today for the Marlins. It was a great performance by Jesus Luzardo, backed up out of the bullpen by Scott. And I really like him. 7 out of 10. Won 3 series in a row. Heading out west to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Another interesting team. 3 straight games on the West Coast, remember? So it's a weekend series. Catch you a little bit of a break there. Where are we at here with the schedule? Let me explain to you what's going on here. Where are we? Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Where are we at? Okay, I guess that's not going to... Hold on. Bear with me, guys. 1 second. The schedule is right here. And they got the... Okay, so you're on the West Coast. You know this, right? I mean, not really. Arizona's on Pacific time. For some reason, they don't change their clocks there. But on Pacific time. So you got a 6:40 start. You got a 7:10 start, which are legitimately 9:40 and 10:10 starts back east. So you're going to be up late if you watch these 2 games. And it's Garrett and Sanchez. And Lord, I don't see any reasons to stay up for those games. You can watch me after, and I'll give you the details. Or save yourself. Anyway, hopefully they turn it around. And then on Sunday, it is a 4:10 Eastern start with Ryan Weathers. And then they go to San Diego to face the 500 Padres before coming home, Texas, Tampa Bay, Cleveland on a 8-game homestand before 6 on the road against the Mets and the Nationals. So there you have it. You know what is going on with your Miami Marlins. And with that, I will do my usual and pay tribute to one of my favorite mentors and people that I knew along the way, the Mad Dog, Jim Manich, when I tell you that that's all there is, Fish fans. There is no more. You're Locked On Marlins postcast on your Wednesday night. The Marlins beat the Brewers 1-0. The Marlins beat the Brewers 2 out of 3 in a 3-game series. Did I mention that they are the first place Milwaukee Brewers in the National League Central Division? Did I also mention that the Marlins have now won 3 series in a row? Tigers on the road, Mets at home, Brewers at home. 7 out of 10 for the Marlins. Luzardo, the hero today, 8 innings pitched. Fantastic job. Sanchez and Garrett and Sanchez, back-to-back in the first 2 games at Arizona, and then Weathers on Sunday. See if they can keep it going, get the offense popping at the same time, start scoring some runs. Be nice to see some early in games as well. But wins are wins. And ladies and gentlemen, your Miami Marlins have won 7 out of 10 games. And with that, all I'm going to do is tell you to keep your game tight and your mind right, baby. My name's Jim Gries. I'm out.